OpenAI is valued at $500 billion and pulls in $20 billion a year in revenue. But behind the curtain, the company is secretly burning through $17 billion every 12 months. To keep the lights on, the CEO is asking investors for a bailout. He wants $7 trillion. $7 trillion is roughly the GDP of Germany and the United Kingdom combined. It is enough money to buy every major semiconductor company on Earth twice. We tend to think of artificial intelligence as magic. It's a weightless, invisible app that writes code and passes the bar exam while sitting comfortably on your phone. Right now, the public and investors are high on the hype. But software still has to live in the physical world, and the physical world comes with ironclad laws of economics and physics that are about to brutally correct that valuation. Writing the code for human-level artificial intelligence was the easy part. The actual crisis is financing the heaviest, most expensive physical supply chain ever conceived to keep that intelligence alive. In 2015, OpenAI started as a small, idealistic, nonprofit research lab. Today, it operates as a ruthless corporate machine, holding a hybrid structure designed to capture massive profits. Sam Altman doesn't write code, he's an empire builder, and his current job is navigating an economic equation that borders on the impossible. The struggle for dominance has moved out of the digital code and into a resource war for the physical atoms and energy required to survive. Training an AI requires a massive physical footprint. To do the heavy math, OpenAI has to buy tens of thousands of highly specialized graphics chips. Each one of those chips costs up to $40,000. If you run a shipping company, a new fleet of trucks lasts 20 years. If you run an AI company, your billion-dollar server cluster becomes obsolete in 18 months. You have to scrap the hardware and buy the newest generation all over again. Running those chips around the clock generates massive heat, requiring industrial-grade cooling systems. They draw so much electricity that OpenAI is bypassing local utilities to negotiate directly for nation-state levels of power from nuclear reactors. Every time a user types a prompt into ChatGPT for free, it literally burns a microscopic fraction of expensive silicon and electricity. Their baseline operating model guarantees massive financial losses with every single query. Microsoft invested $13 billion into OpenAI, but that money didn't arrive in briefcases of cash. It arrived as digital store credit locked to Microsoft's own Azure cloud servers. The startup has nearly infinite computing power, but it can't pay rent with server credits. It needs hard currency to cover legal bills and pay its top researchers $2 million a year. When the hard cash gets tight, the talent leaves. In a span of a few months, the chief technology officer, the chief research officer, and the visionary scientist who literally invented their core tech all walked out the door. The company looks like the wealthiest startup in history. In reality, they're trapped in a financial illusion, constantly scrambling for the outside investment required to make payroll by Friday. Altman realized the current global supply chain simply cannot produce enough chips or energy to support OpenAI's growth. At the current pace, physical limits will bankrupt them, so he booked flights to meet with Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds. His pitch is to raise $7 trillion to completely bypass the bottleneck and rebuild the entire global semiconductor industry from scratch. A software application is forcing its creator to attempt a hostile takeover of the worldwide infrastructure market just to keep the servers humming. Economists look at this math and see a disaster. The current AI financial bubble relies entirely on the assumption that OpenAI will hold a permanent monopoly. But tech giants are releasing and giving away equally powerful AI models completely for free. Meta can afford to burn billions on open-source AI because they use it to sell targeted ads on Facebook and Instagram. OpenAI has no social media network. Their only product is the AI itself. You have astronomical physical operating costs colliding with a product your biggest rivals are distributing for $0. A business model cannot survive that equation. OpenAI has exactly one exit strategy left: build artificial general intelligence before the bank accounts dry up. If they can invent a machine smart enough to universally replace human experts in coding, law, and medicine, the revenue potential scales to infinity. At that point, burning $17 billion a year becomes pocket change. Humanity dreamed of building an artificial intelligence to free us from physical labor. Instead, we built an intelligence that demands the most expensive physical labor in history just to keep it alive.